Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Kevin, I'm a geek, you are watching Kevin the Geek, and welcome back to another reaction. It's quite possible you may not even be seeing this bit. It depends on, of course, what the copyright and everything is like when I try to upload this video. But ultimately, I'm reacting to something which, this is kind of the second part of that reaction. So I have on my Patreon the tier level Super Geek, which currently is set to one person per month. And for the month of August, Brett, aka the Balding Brummy, was my Super Geek. And basically, when you're the Super Geek, you get a guaranteed reaction of your choosing. And Brett requested Drop the Dead Donkey. Is a huge fan of this show. Has been repeatedly requesting that I react to it for months in so many different comment threads. And because he chose this as it, I thought, yeah, great. Then I looked into it and I see there's a pilot episode, and then you've obviously got the first show as a whole. And I thought, you know what, let's do both episodes, because then I get a really good sense of how the show kind of started off with the pilot, and then of course the very first actual transmissioned episode. So I've already seen the pilot. If all goes as planned, then the pilot episode will be coming out on YouTube in the morning of whatever day I upload this, and then this episode will be coming out later on in the afternoon, so around about 5 o'clock. So if you're seeing this but you haven't seen the pilot episode, do go back and check that one out. Obviously the pilot, you know, it was pretty good, but this is where I'm thinking this is where we want to see the show really kind of hitting its stride, ideally quite quickly. That's always good. But I did enjoy what we saw. So let's check out the very first episode, which is called A New Dawn.
And now, another showing of Drop the Dead Donkey. This first episode was originally broadcast in a week when Sir Alistair Burnett went for a televised stroll with the Queen Mother, and petrol prices soared as Iraq's invasion of Kuwait prompted fears of war.
Oh. Quick question. Sorry, I'm pausing right near the very start of this. So, that little bit there, was that aired at the time that this episode first came out? Or is that maybe something that was only added in later on, like when it got added to streaming services, or on repeats, or on the DVD, or things like that? Because, obviously, one of the things I said with the pilot episode is, with it being set in the 90s and it being a very topical show, is there the chance that me being literally a baby when the first episodes would have come out, is there a chance that I may not get some of the references, I may not get some of the jokes as a result of it? Having that in there, I think that would be really useful for me and help me to understand the context of the episodes. Let me know in more detail. I do really like this theme tune. Yeah, it gives a very much a sort of like user 10, user 6 kind of vibe.
What's to say his latest justification for going in?
Well, he's still saying he received an invitation.
Yes, a little card. You are cordially invited to invade our country. Dress informal, 2:30 for 3 a.m. Please bring a bottle and tank.
Can we be serious, please?
See, there you go, straight away. You know, talking about giving me that information at the start about the oil thing and happening. That gives me some context for that joke. I love it.
We could be on the brink of a full-scale war, yeah?
Marvellous, isn't it?
What?
Is it marvelous?
This sort of crisis is the ultimate challenge for any decent newsreader. You furrow the eyebrows slightly, you drop the voice an extra semitone, and you say, "Good evening. Tonight the world stands on the brink of war."
Oh dear.
You scare the whole country shitless. Now that is real news reading, not poncing around behind the Queen Mother smelling a bloody rhododendron. Burbling about how all her trees are her personal friends.
Did you see that program?
And again, I would not have got that if it hadn't been for that little bit at the beginning. Brilliant addition. Regardless of whenever they added it, that is a great little thing to add in there. Love it.
Just so unbelievably coy. I was just praying that one of the Queen Mum's corgis would start shagging Burnett's leg.
Thank you, David. Now, are there any other stories?
Yeah, I might have a story on some big new corn circles.
Good. All right, now the Tory backbenchers have been on us again, so can we make sure we avoid even the slightest hint of irresponsibility? Now, for instance, this piece we're doing on the state of our drinking water. Let's not frighten people unnecessarily.
No, that's right. Let's stress the positive side. Like how all the aluminium in the water is killing off the worms.
I'm saying, Alexis, we have a responsibility. Yes? Speaking. No. 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 No, I don't want a personal insurance plan, thank you. No. No, not even with additional cover against attack by chemical weapons.
Chemical weapons?
Have you got this number? Well, where was I? Yes. Now, I want someone to put together a series of features on a single European market in 1992. No, come on. 1992 is a developing story. Trade barriers are coming down. Common European currency. It's exciting. It's challenging.
It's boring.
Jeez. I want a series of features on 1992, and I shall be allocating it to someone, so you better watch out.
Hang on, George. There's a late story.
The thing about the common European currency, are they referencing the euro? Was it in talks like that early? Because didn't it come out in like 2000, if I remember correctly? So that's like, are we talking like 8 years? I mean, I guess like to do something like that with so many different countries where you have to get rid of the franc, the Deutschmark, the pesetas, that would have taken a lot of planning. So yeah, I guess in reality, 8 years is probably not that long.
Big takeover.
Takeovers are boring. So who's been taken over this time?
We are.
What?
Oh.
It's described as a friendly takeover by Sir Royston Merchant.
Royston Merchant?
God, that ruthless bastard. I met him once.
So you don't mean Rupert Murdoch?
He auctioned his chauffeur.
We all know what will happen, don't we? Exactly what's happened at all these other TV stations and newspapers. They'll just drag us down market.
It'll be good evening. Here is the news. Read by Samantha Fox in a wet t-shirt.
Hey!
President Gorbachev says that Elvis is alive and well and bonking Princess Anne.
Hold it. We might be all right. There's a bid from a rival consortium. Now, they're saying that Merchant is an unfit person to control a news organisation. Surprise, surprise.
Sounds like Rupert Murdoch.
I mean, they're obviously right. They've got to win the day, haven't they? Haven't they? Oh, of course they have. Oh, look, come on, you lot. Don't look so down in the dumps. We've got a programme to make, haven't we? So let's show everyone what we're made of. And let's jolly well go out there and make television.
A fine orator, George, isn't he? Reminds me of the great Demosthenes.
Why, did he talk crap as well?
Royston Merchant. What a morning. Royston Merchant.
Come on, George, you've just got to show everybody what you're made of and jolly well get on with it. Damien! In here.
Damien? Oh, yes.
Alison?
Well, I think so. My GP says it's nerves. Mind you, he puts all my symptoms down to nerves. I can see him now at my funeral, reassuring me that death is only psychosomatic.
Dan, Damien?
Yeah, well, look, I'm in a hurry. There's just been a gas explosion.
All in good time. Alex Pace? Yep. George, it's for you. Douglas Hurd.
Oh, God, what have we done now?
Who's Douglas Hurd?
Hello, Mr. Hurd. Yes, Mr. Hurd. Well, I'm just not prepared to talk about it, okay? Yeah, well, I'm taking that attitude because I was under the impression you were Douglas Hurd, Her Majesty's Foreign Secretary, not Douglas Hurd, Insurance Advisor from London. You've got my private line now. Where was I? Oh, yes. Edited highlights. The best of Damien Day, starting with June 1986.
And here, among the ruins of West Beirut,
lies perhaps the most poignant testimony to the tragedy of the Lebanon, poking pathetically through the rubble, a child's teddy bear.
And now March 1989.
And buried inside the remnants of this hospital, devastated by the earthquake, a sad symbol of tragedy, a child's teddy bear.
And finally, last month.
A sad trail of destruction. And among the wreckage,
Oh no,
a
another
grim
one.
reminder of the human cost of this air crash.
My other question, okay. I sense a theme here, okay, with the recurring teddy bear. Also, if you look in the top left corner, where it says "Made in Japan," and it says that on each of the 3 videos. Why does it say "Made in Japan"?
Hand it over.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Hand it over.
Oh, has he got it?
And the blood-stained plimsoll.
Oh no!
We've been warned about this before, Damien.
Look, come on, you two. I mean, you know what these stories are like. You turn up and the emergency services have cleared away all the carnage, so you've got no pictures. Well, these are just creative touches to bring home the full drama of the story to the viewer.
You're not an actor.
Well, I've won 3 awards with Dimbles. all right, I concede that maybe I've overused him a teensy bit.
Yeah, it's a bit insensitive.
Teensy bit. This bear's visited more disaster scenes than Margaret Thatcher. It's the only cuddly toy to have taken part in the Iran-Iraq war. As I recall, you claimed it was a mascot abandoned by martyrs of Allah. Now, if there are any more of these creative touches, we're going to be out. Is that clear?
Yes, George.
Now, I mean it, Damien.
Yes, George. Look, can I go now? Because I am supposed to be covering this gas explosion.
George, President Bush has made a major speech.
Oh, what's he said?
Well, the gist of it is, go ahead, punk, make my day.
That's a lot, Bush.
Damien, I think you forgot something.
Yes,
That's a present
Is it?
for my niece.
Is it? Nah, didn't think so.
All right, I'll just read this final paragraph back. As professional broadcasters, we feel most strongly that an established news service should not fall under the control of an opportunist like Sir Royston Merchant.
How about ruthless opportunists?
Yeah.
No, it's still too weak. How about ruthless megalomaniac?
I'm not putting my name to that.
It's factual. He is a ruthless megalomaniac.
Exactly, which is why I don't want to get the wrong side of him.
Yes, I think we'll just go with the ruthless opportunist.
You're just being weak, George.
Yes? No, go away.
Insurance again?
Who was that?
Stupid pest Douglas Hurd.
Yeah, not the one you're thinking
Oh,
of.
George, just because Alex said you were weak, there's no need to go overboard.
No, he's not Douglas Hurd. No, it doesn't matter. Look, I think the best thing we can do is sign this thing, and then I'll get it biked directly over to the Guardian.
George, shouldn't my name appear first, my dear fellow? I mean, as far as Joe Viewer is concerned, I am the most well-known.
Well, I am the editor. And within the industry, I'm quite well known.
Quite well-known, you say. Do you ever get asked for your autograph in restaurants?
Well, no, but...
Do you get invited to appear on Wogan?
no, but...
Do you receive letters from a frustrated housewife offering oral sex if ever you're passing through acting?
Whoa!
No.
I rest my case. I just hope Sir Royston doesn't win, that's all.
Well, how do you mean?
Well, then we'd have all signed a letter slagging off our new boss. Wouldn't be very pleased, would he?
Well, no. I think he'd admire our integrity,
Would he?
our frankness, and our
Would he?
perhaps ruthless opportunist is a bit strong, actually.
Yeah, maybe.
How about just entrepreneur?
I don't believe this. What are you so scared of? We're just speaking our minds. Besides, there's absolutely no way that the shareholders will approve this bid.
Well, she's right, of course. There's no way the shareholders would approve Sir Royston's bid.
And when your shareholders approved Sir Royston's bid, it was agreed by Sir Royston and your directors at a meeting late last night that I should interface with your team as, for want of a better label, chief executive. But please, please, don't think of me as that, because I'm a teamwork person. And initially, I just want to access into your operational landscape, to get the feel of your ballpark. It's basically, I'm very much on a learning curve here.
He seems okay. Saying all the right sort of things. Not saying them in English, but I can't complain. I was expecting a devious bastard.
He's a devious bastard. People who use the term learning curve are always devious bastards.
The man's a moron. How would he cope? Our business demands commitment, professionalism, and total concentration. Hello, she's nice, must be new.
And I feel sure we're all going to be one big, happy, collective organism.
Not the... You see the guy over his shoulder? Literally, just look at him. Just like...
Here, here. And as for me, well, I can assure you, Gus Hedges is very much a light touch, hands-off, arm's-length executive bloke. So you just carry on as normal. I want everyone to ignore me.
Yes, well, thank you, Gus, for those words.
All 3 million of them.
I'm sure you've calmed any fears we might have had over this takeover.
Oh, please, not takeover. Change of management emphasis.
Yes, this
Oh, I think it's South my bullshit alarm.
Change of management emphasis. Well, welcome aboard.
Oh.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Right, troops, back to work.
Oh, George.
I have something very important to tell you.
Yes?
I'm not here.
Right.
In other words, relax. Don't mind me, just carry on as normal. I'll watch and learn from you, okay? Well, you're the boss.
Right. Thanks.
He's sending my bullshit alarm into overdrive there. That's a link to the pilot episode if you're not already aware. Oh, God, no. Right. So I finally twigged there because he looks familiar. Why do I know? And then I realised I've literally seen him in the pilot episode. So, yeah, the pilot must have been, you know, in theory, like after he's come in. This is, with it being the first episode, showing like this is him arriving and this is him introducing himself and everything. So at least I now have a bit of context to that.
It needed saying. And I said the same thing to Sir Royston only this morning.
Oh, right.
Yes, he was terribly interested to know all about you.
Was he?
Oh, yes. And I told him I don't care what anyone says. George Dent is obviously the right man for this job. He runs a tight ship. He knows how to walk that tightrope between populism and irresponsibility.
Oh, that's right. I'm very strict on irresponsibility.
Damien, there's a farmer on the phone. He says, how big do you want the corn circle?
Oh, yes, I'm very hot on that sort of thing.
The man's a monster. And he's a complete megalomaniac. He's got all that money and power, and he's still not satisfied with what he's got.
I think it would be better if somebody just shot him.
So please, can we stop going on about Jeremy Beadle and get back to this meeting? Now, I was in the Express at the weekend.
Not about Jeremy Beadle.
Nobody's had a good TV interview with Redley since he went. Any joy on that front?
Well, I'll try him again, George, but I just keep getting his answer phone.
It's a sad day, isn't it, when insulting Germans is considered a resigning offence?
Yeah. Answer phone again.
Guten Tag, Mr.
That was a joke for the pilot episode. If I can't even speak. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that was reused from the pilot episode.
Alex, I just wanted to say, I'm not here.
Or maybe none of us is here, Gus. Maybe we're all just figments of some alien being's imagination.
Nice use of humor. I like to see that in a teammate. Now, I know there's some nervousness here about Sir Royston, and I know he gets a bad write-up in the papers.
Well, those he doesn't know.
Very good, yeah. But I do want to reassure you, Alex, I'm not going to bring this operation down market.
Bullshit.
George?
I said it about him with the female anchor in the pilot again. Sorry, I'm referring back to that a lot. Again, I feel like he may be wanting to try and... Am I just going to get the feeling he's going to try and sleep with any and every female member of staff? Or was it just the vibe he's giving off? I don't know.
George, which graphic do you want to accompany the violence against the elderly story? We've got the silhouette of the granny being cudgelled, or the collage of Kosh, mask and machete?
Oh, these are nervous. This is exactly what I'm talking. Cheap and sensationalist. Which reminds me, where's Damien? Have you seen him?
No, I've been with Gus.
What do you make of Gus, Alex?
He's like a eunuch's memories.
You what?
Full of bollocks.
I love this character already. Alex, I've got to remember, Alex. Yeah, she's great. She comes out with some right good singers.
He's been rather supportive of me, actually. Says I run a tight ship.
Told you, full of bollocks.
Quid, Henry.
What?
Nessun Dorma box.
I
you
would
made
be
this week?
skipped.
48 quid. Nearly enough for a gallon of petrol.
Tonight, when we were asleep, the river rose up. And when we got up, it was flowing through the middle of the village.
Now, there you go. Now, about these corn Oh, sorry.
I lost all my family.
What's this?
It's some of my stuff on the floods in India.
Was washed away. I survived because I hung on to the branches of a tree, but they have all died. Very Betty, very Ma, Samge.
Oh, woman. This is very moving, isn't it?
Yes.
Now,
Though she was better in one of the later takes, actually.
What? Come again?
Later takes.
Yeah, it was,
now we have nothing.
it was take 9, I think it was. And the crying was better.
How many takes did you record?
17.
Dude!
You interviewed a woman whose family had just died, and you did 17 consecutive takes?
Oh, look, of course I didn't. What do you take me for? I gave her a break in the middle so she could take a break.
Dude!
Now, the best take's coming up. I got her to say that she was devastated, you know, rather than just stunned.
Right, that does it. This has definitely never ever been broadcast. It was clearly obtained in the most reprehensible manner. And I'm issuing you a final warning. Is that clear?
Yes, George. Now, this final warning, do you want me to disregard the 4 previous final warnings I've had this month?
What are you suggesting?
Well, nothing.
Are you implying that I have problems in making decisions? Well, are you? You're fired.
What?
Well, you heard me. You're fired. Dismissed.
Go on,
You
George!
don't mean it.
Well, George, I've only been here one day and you've already sacked your best-known reporter. What a little ball of fire you are. You're positive it's right to sack Damien?
Well, you did say you admired my stand on responsibility.
Oh, absolutely. It's just that research shows that Damien's reports have a high response factor. I mean, televisually speaking, he's extremely viewer-friendly, George.
He's an animal. He'd napalm his own granny if he thought he'd get good
Ooh.
pictures. He's got to go.
Whatever you say, Coach. Damien goes. Even if he is Sir Royston's favourite.
Bollocks.
How do you know he's Sir Royston's favourite?
Oh, Sir Royston mentioned it in passing the other day when he rang me about that letter in The Guardian.
Ah.
Oh, he knows about
How did he
that.
take that, the letter?
Well, Sir Royston's not brilliant at accepting criticism. You know, I saw him headbutt a speak-your-weight machine once. But I explained to him that the letter showed that you were a man of fierce, fearless integrity. Of course, he didn't see it quite like that, but never mind. He'll calm down. Eventually. Mind you, if then he discovers you've sacked his favorite reporter,
Well, Yes, but he couldn't dismiss me, could he? I mean, he promised the authorities he wouldn't interfere on editorial matters.
He wouldn't dismiss you. He might redefine you.
Oh, dear.
Perhaps if Damien was disciplined. Oh, not that I'm trying to call the shots here. I'm just lobbing a few ideas into your net.
Well, I fired him now.
What if I disciplined him? Why, be severe.
Wouldn't that undermine my credibility?
A little bit.
I think you'll find your credibility will be the same as it always was, George.
All right, then. Oh, by the way, incidentally, if you should be speaking to Sir Royston, perhaps you could mention that that letter was a group effort.
But you were the brains behind it, eh, George?
Who told you that?
Why, Dave, of course.
God damn it, Dave.
Of course. Do you know what gets me about this crisis? I mean, let's face it, it's the oldest trick in the book, isn't it? A despotic ruler faced with a declining economic situation has a wall to increase personal popularity.
That's Thatcher's position dealt with. What about Hussein?
Now, please. Ah, yes. Incidentally, I've had a word with the graphics department. I'm still not happy with them. In fact, I've had to give them a real talking to. And I've told them I don't want any more graphics that are sensationalist or cheap.
Well said, George. And I'd just like to point out to staff that as a result of a disciplinary breach, Damien has been taken off big news stories. In the meantime, he'll be researching a series of features on 1992.
Oh! Meeting adjourned. There you are, you see. He backed me up all the way. Unlike some people we could mention, A. Judas.
George, telephone. Why did he call you Judas?
Oh, you know what George is like with names. Probably got me mixed up with that bloke Judas in photocopying.
A, I do not want special cover against dogfights, and B, how did you know my neighbour owned a Rottweiler?
Well, dear boy. It's a sin bin for you. What are you doing?
Well, I'm just writing a letter to a housewife in Accrington.
What? Not Sandra.
Yeah?
She writes to you as well.
Henry, she writes to all of us. She sent the weatherman some lace panties.
Oh!
Jezebel!
Well, Damien, what rotten luck. 1992, eh?
Yeah, pretty boring.
Though I am putting together one program looking at transport across Europe.
Sounds riveting, Damien.
With a special emphasis on safety.
Go on.
Well, yeah, I'll be looking at many of the most recent European rail and road disasters, examining the causes, well, and of course, interviewing relatives of the deceased to get their reactions.
Gus, I want a word with you.
Da 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 da. Six. Speaking. Oh yes, I do need some insurance actually. Have you got a policy which covers me against breaking my leg while kicking an insurance man to death?
Might use that one.
About Damien. Words fail.
Oh, please don't thank me, George.
Thank you. You've just sent a vampire on a tour of Europe's freshest blood banks.
He's doing 1992, a story he hates.
Covering it in a way he loves. You've made an idiot out of me, Gus, and I am very, very angry.
And I respect your anger, George. I feel sure we all respect your anger, and I know your anger respects you. What?
George, revised graphics for the crime against the elderly story.
I want to work with you later, Mr. It Was All George's idea. No, I'm serious, Dave. I'm fed up with people not taking me seriously. And sometimes I think that everyone's just taking the mickey. Hello, Joyce. Could you send the graphics department up here, please?
Come on!
George?
Yeah?
British Telecom have just announced a profit of £741 million.
What?
For the last 3 months.
What?
Get BT on the phone for a quote. How did they make 741 million?
I don't know. Probably 200 million from call boxes that just eat your money, 300 million from moronic chat lines, and the rest from all the wrong numbers they charge you for.
Sounds about right.
Look, is that BT? Oh, sorry, I must have been misconnected. Bloody hell. I know.
Yeah.
Let's find out Maureen Littman's address.
Yeah.
And go round to her house.
Yeah.
And beat her up.
Okay. Okay. So, that is the first official episode of Drop the Dead Donkey. And I have watched that pretty much immediately after finishing watching the pilot episode. And it is light and day between each other. Now, I mentioned in the pilot one that I don't know when the pilot one was actually officially recorded, but with the fact that it's pretty much sort of like written and then it gets rewritten and then they add in some of the topical stuff quite late on when they come to recording. And the dates that appeared on screen is basically about 2 weeks from what shows for the pilot episode and for this episode. So it's possible that it is only about 2 weeks between literally recording the pilot episode and then recording the very first episode. Which, if it is, they've really brought the level up quite considerably in this particular episode compared to the pilot. And I'm down for it. I like it. They made it very easy to follow. They made it it wasn't so much that it was relying on you knowing the stuff that was happening, at the time, but it made sense that they added in a few jokes that would tie in with it. But it wasn't like the core focus, which I appreciate. Like if you took out any of them kind of topical elements, you still had a pretty funny show and some good characters, some good zingers and things. So I'm interested to see where this show goes in the future. I really, really am. There is something different about it. And we've only really done a couple of shows that have been set in offices on the channel. Obviously, I've done the first episodes for both The Office and for Staffless Flats. We've done... what else have we done, office-wise? Of course, I've done Severance. I feel there's one... Oh, I mean, The Smoking Room, in a way, kind of. I suppose that, in a way, might be the closest to this of what I've seen. But, of course, that is kind of within the break room, smoking room area, rather than being within the office bit. I noticed that the female anchor, she was in the title sequence, but she wasn't in this episode. But she was in the pilot. So I'm interested, why they didn't include her in this episode. We'll of course maybe have to see. Maybe they'll explain it. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll say, oh, she was on holiday, or something random like that, But I like this, and it gave a good sense as to what goes on in the background. I mean, the day that I'm recording this, it is the last day. I'm sorry if I bore you right now, but it's the last day of the football transfer window in the UK, which is something that religiously for years I like to watch, at least in the evening, and see all the people in the studio and they're talking about all this kind of stuff. That and things like the 6 o'clock news, 10 o'clock news, that kind of thing. You see that, but you don't see the many days, weeks, months, years of effort that it will sometimes take to get a story. And so you may see a 3-minute segment talking about whatever thing is happening, but there's been a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and a lot of different people working to put it together. I found that interesting. It was such a unique thing, and it just so happened, it was transfer deadline day today, the day that I'm recording this. So, yeah, I found that interesting. But let me know what you thought of the pilot episode and this episode. Of course, if you want to talk about the show in general, just don't give me spoilers for the future. But as a first official episode goes, definitely better than the pilot, and I really, really enjoyed it. So, comment down below, subscribe if you're new, join the Patreon if you want to help support the channel. Don't have to, but it'd be nice if you did, so I can upgrade the equipment and like them, make better quality stuff, but hopefully without needing to do about 17 different takes. That's going to do it for today. Thank you so much if you stuck with me to this point. For now, my name's Kevin. I'm a geek, and you've been watching Kevin the Geek.